Hey guys, how you doing? It's Frank here, and I just finished installing the Lee bench plate system because I have this Lee Challenger, the breech lock press, the Lee Challenger breech lock press, and it pretty much does everything that I was shooting until I got an AR-50, and that obviously is changed chambered in 50 BMG. So I was going to need to mount the Lee Classic Cast 50 BMG, and I was looking for a spot on the bench. I don't have a real big bench here. I got it set up. It's all messed up now because I got so much stuff down here. I need to put shelves on it. I got 50 AE there. I got 45 brass there, 9mm brass there, scale, powder charging thing. Got a lot of stuff here. So I didn't want to junk up the press. I wanted to keep enough space to go. I probably could have stuck it out there, but I didn't have to reach around anything. So I installed this thing, and I got it. Got it on Amazon. It wasn't expensive at all, and I just ordered another plate. I know this comes with a right here, comes with a template, so you can make one out of 3/4 inch plywood. But I said, you know what? I got it on Amazon for like $12, and I think it came to like 14 or 13 with tax or something like that. So I figured I'd get another one that comes with the bolts, comes with the plate and everything, so I don't have to worry about it, and I'll be able to mount it up. And I had to arrange this thing so I could fit the 50 BMG on here with the gap and space and all this stuff. But seems to work fine. And one thing that aggravated me to no end was the simple fact that the videos that Lee was showing, and people who were doing reviews on this thing, I couldn't figure out how this damn thing works because I'm thinking, okay, you got bolts, sort of like carriage bolts that go up underneath here. Here's a square holes here, if I could show you. How does this fit on here? Now, I'm not going to take this off, but if I can show you real quick, if you can look right here, you can actually see it, and you can actually see it up top here, that this part here, there's actually a gap underneath there, if I could see it, if you could see it there. See, there's a gap, and that allows these bolts, they call them elevator bolts, to punch through here into the squares, like sort of like carriage bolts, so it locks in place, and then you can tighten these down, and that gives you enough room underneath there to slide this on and off. And that's what I couldn't understand. I was like, I'm trying to figure out how this plate can sit flush with these bolts underneath there and not rock back and forth or cause any kind of a problem. But that's it here. You can see the channel right in here. On the ends here, this is sort of like dipped down, and I showed you before. You can see it right here. See if I can get that look again. Here we go. Right there on the end. It's dipped down here, and obviously on this side here. And that gives you where it locks and clamps down into here. And I know some people were worried about this. I'm not too worried about it. What I'm figuring is this is acting like a lock washer. It's got some some springiness to it. Just screw it down tight and it holds. I just tried it with the 50 BMG on it. Putting it through its paces. I don't have anything to load, but I was moving the handle up and down, putting some pressure on it, and my bench is pretty good. It's 2 3/4 inch pieces of plywood glued together. I varnished them, put a nice trim edge on it, and that's what I had this thing mounted to, the breech lock, Challenger breech lock press. And I figured that would be more than enough. So this plate just adds a little bit more rigidity to it, and now it's adding flexibility because now I'll be able to run the two presses anytime I want. I just need to find a place to store them. Again, the shelves that I need to install to get all the stuff up off the bench. But that's pretty much it. The bench plate system, like I said, I got it on Amazon. It was really cheap, and shipping was free, obviously, with your Prime membership, and got it here quick. But it's a real nice system, and it seems solid. I tried using it. Now, the only time's going to tell as far as putting it through its paces and repetition and see what happens. Worst case scenario, you might end up having to put some lock washers underneath here. I know some guys put washers underneath here to raise it to get it level because they were worried about the angle that sits at. But I'm really not worried about it. Like I said, I think it's acting like a lock washer. There's a little bit of flex to it, and that springiness will lock the bolt in place. So I'm really not worried about it. I was trying it, again, with the 50 BMG, putting some pressure on it, and it held fine. There was no flexure to it. Everything was good. And I used 3/8 inch bolts here. Hex head bolts. Got them mounted through there. They were 3 inches long, so there was a little bit of the. They're not the ones that are threaded all the way through. They have a little bit of that space where it's not threaded. But I was able to get a washer and a lock washer on there, and that sort of locked it in place. It's really nice and rigid and stiff, and it seems to be working. So again, I might post another video. Only time's going to tell. Once repetition, starts going through and we start pressing stuff out. The only thing I was actually worried about was these bolts here. Not so much on this press, because I had actually used bigger bolts when I locked it to the bench. Just bolts big enough to fit in the holes. These here, I don't know if these are like 1/4 inch or what, because I know they fit. They fit in here. And I was trying to figure a way to use these bolts to lock this in place, but what I did is I took the bench plate off here, used these bolts that comes with the plate. This came with the kit. Now, the plate that locks in place and the base plate that locks in here comes with the kit initially. It's like, I actually got it for like $18 on Amazon. It was a deal on it. But it's usually $26 from Lee Precision website. And it comes with this, comes with the bolts and everything. Doesn't come with the hardware to lock it down. You have to buy that yourself. So, but it comes with everything else. So the new plate that I'm ordering for the 50 BMG press comes with, ordered just this plate for like $12, and it comes with this and these bolts. And like I was saying, I was a little worried about these bolts being too small for that, but I locked the 50 BMG press onto the plate with this, and it held pretty good. Like I said, I put it through its paces a little bit, gave it some pressure, pushing down on it, and it held up pretty good. So the only test is going to be the test of time, but for the most part, it worked good. Again, people were complaining about the handle. Again, I locked it in place, seemed fine. The wooden ball did come off it a couple times, but I'll probably either put some epoxy on it or just be a little more careful with it and see what happens. Again, the test of time is gonna see what's what. But I'm pretty satisfied with the. I've been pretty satisfied with the Lee products altogether. I had nothing but great success with this. Reloading my 9mm and 45 ACP. I'm going to be reloading 30-06. 30-06 ammunition on here, as I got some ammo. I got some seconds, and then I got some Spear hollow points, some Spear Match King hollow points from my buddy, and I got a bunch of these, so we'll be trying that, seeing how that shoots. The problem that I'm having, and it's not even really a problem, it's actually my problem, is the simple fact that I had a Remington 700, and it was just a standard rifle. I don't even know what it was, because I got it from the guy at a gun shop, and then he closed up, and my buddy Eric opened up. So it was a Remington 700. The trigger was really heavy, had a standard barrel on it, was all black and everything. It was a nice gun, pretty accurate as far as it goes, but it kicked like hell because it wasn't super heavy. So what I did is I turned that over to my buddy at the gun shop. He had a friend of his who wanted it, so he bought that off of me, and I got a Winchester 30-06. It's got the heavy barrel. It's got a choke stock on it, and it's really sharp. I'll have to post a separate video for that. I could walk over there and do it now, but I just don't have the time right now. So yeah, so I got that, and all the brass that I have for that was fired out of that fired out of that Remington 700. So now I got to refire all this brass, reload all this brass, and refire it through the new gun to get the what do they call it? The case formed shell. So this way it promotes accuracy. If you look through the Lee reloading book, it tells you all about that stuff. And most of your competition shooters know that. If you reload your same ammunition, same thing with the 50 BMG. That's what I'm going to be going for. I got when I bought the gun, I got 300 rounds of ammunition. So once I fire that through the gun, I'll take that and I'll reload that. And we'll see how accurate it is, because the AR-50s are known for their accuracy. Got a nice 29-inch barrel, and the thing weighs a ton. So so that's it. Again, back to the plate, the Lee plate, and everything's fine. The bench plate's fine. It went on pretty nice. It feels sturdy. Again, I popped the 50 BMG press on there, and I locked it down. These bolts seem to suffice going on there and holding it in its place. The plate seems pretty sturdy. This plate here is pretty thick, and it gives a, my bench is already rigid with two 3/4 inch pieces of plywood, glued together and stuck on there. But with the bolts holding it together, it's going to be a little more rigid. So